I'm here to warn people. You keep telling me to shut up. This isn't a game.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line is this. No army can stop an idea whose time has come. No army can stop an idea whose time has come. And ideas, my friends, are bulletproof.
Riches and wisdom. So we have even right there.
What's his name?
This is an emergency transmission from FEMA Region 6 in occupied North America.
There is a war. It's happening now. It will decide the fate of humanity. The time to choose sides has come. We are the resistance. We are the info war.
You are the info war, ladies and gentlemen. Ahead of David Icke joining us and ahead of Dr. Group being in studio, Dr. Edward Group, I want to open the phones up right now to police currently serving in the homeland and to currently serving military or recently out, that could even be the last decade, who have been part of these now public drills where the gun owners, libertarians, veterans, again, number one enemy returning veterans are cast as the bad guy. I mean, imagine if they were having drills where black people are going to go kill everybody at the school, or where Hispanics are, or where Catholics were, or Jews were. There would be an incredible outcry. But, oh, veterans as a group. Oh, gun owners. Oh, libertarians. Oh, conservatives. Oh, Bob Barr supporters. Remember that in the Mike report? Oh, Ron Paul supporters. Yeah, oh, they're terrorists, police. Go ahead and arrest them. I saw that in Law Enforcement magazine years ago. It said, you know, they got to get us out of the UN sticker from the John Birch Society. Go ahead and take them in. And chiefs, you support them. We're sure there's something they're doing wrong. Statistically, folks, John Birchers are probably the lowest crime rate of anybody out there, and everybody knows that, who studies history, criminology. I mean, I can't think of more upstanding people than the John Birchers I've known in my life. I'm not even part of the group. But they list them as evil terrorists, basically. The more upstanding you are, the more you won't sell out, the stronger you are, the more committed you are. Of course you're listed as an enemy by this criminal takeover. Of course, clean-cut, hard-working veterans that own businesses are being watched because they're scared of you. These crooks are scared of men and women who have honor in their hearts and who want freedom. And we're being listed as the terrorist. I am listed as someone who wants violence and a revolution on MSNBC and CNN. Because I tell them, I know you're preparing for war with us, and if you try it, 1776 will commence again. Those aren't just words. We're taking action. They said there's no open carry in San Antonio. We don't care what the state law is. And over 1,000 people marched down there in defiance, and the police backed off and did their duty. But after we left that night, they arrested somebody open carrying right there. It's disgusting. They think they're playing it safe. You're not playing it safe. You got to do like the sheriff of Liberty County, Florida. He read the statute on air with us. I read the statute when he got arrested. The sheriff. And it said if someone's going to or from work or transporting money, they can have a concealed firearm in the vehicle for their security without a permit. But if you feel that they were transporting it outside of that, it's written where they can, it's a bad statute. He said, listen, you arrested this guy with no criminal record for a gun coming from his work? Let him go. He said to his deputies, you want to carry guns off duty too, don't you? Let him go. Get rid of that fake report. They arrested him. The governor tried to make sure he went to jail. The jury, no building. The jury said not guilty. Grand jury with no bill. It was the jury in the court trial. Because they're afraid of the enforcers deciding to follow their oath. They're scared to death, so they want to intimidate you. That little police chief out in that small town of New Mexico when he got to the airport to fly into Las Vegas to be part of a constitutional sheriff's meeting. And he went in there, and they harassed him and sent the feds in trying to get him fired. And the Fed was there knowing what he was going to, knowing what he was doing. And then now a lady's reading a conservative Jewish newspaper, and they interrogate her for 30 minutes and rifle her stuff. They're thought police, folks. When I go to the airport, the low-level TSA will be like, oh, hi, Alex, how you doing? And the manager will walk over and go, well, Jones, where you going and what you planning? And I'll say, well, you know, you've got my ticket. Answer my questions if you want to fly. It's all about lining me up, teaching me I'm a criminal, teaching me. And next is, come with us. And that's already starting. Come with us. At the airport, that's an internal checkpoint, and you disappear. And then, oh, don't say anything about Alex. They might get you. No, we all got to stand together against this evil of illegitimate criminals. They will succeed and take over if you're afraid of them, folks. You should be scared to death of not taking action. History, facts, my gut, everything says, fight these people head on, call them out, speak out against them. And the reason they'll come after us when they stage a false flag, and I know that, is they know we've got reporters and myself and auxiliary reporters around the country that are going to go to their press conferences when they stage a Boston bombing or an event. We're going to have our people there in hours. We're going to expose the drills, the setup. We're going to get the photos the FBI says don't look at. They had Secret Service, when Obama wasn't even there, come and threaten Dan Bidandi with all sorts of bodily harm if he kept asking questions in the press conference about the drill. And the FBI looked at the media and they said, you do not talk to this man or look at his photos. And the media literally saluted, except a few national media come over and said, we know it's a drill. They're killing people. They're finding them dead in the rivers. Man, you got a lot of courage. People can make jokes about people like Bidandi because he's a real normal guy and everything and is, up there with his East Coast accent. But he's a real guy who's got courage. Not once, not twice, but 3 times to have feds come up and start bumping into him going, you better watch it, punk. You know something's going to happen. He said, fine, do whatever you're going to do. I'm going to ask the questions. He's not a coward. You people in this gang system that think, you've got all the power because you've got the system. You've got all this power from sucking off the people. And you got a traitor government saying the veterans and gun owners are the #1 threat. That's like Hitler did. This is so flaming tyrannical. This is on fire with evil. This is outrageous. Outrageous how naked this is. How brazen. How belligerent. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know. They've already done all the TV conditioning, all of it. They're playing. I'm going to open the phone number up for police and military, and I'll go right to you because we got David Icke coming up. I want to hear what you think about a guy with a shotgun case, spent casing, literally that they dug through all of his hunting and fishing stuff and found it in a vest he'd forgotten to take out. And they're going to try to put him in jail for years in D.C. I want to know what you think about Bloomberg getting caught in secret meetings saying once we register, we're going to ban. I want to know what you think about the federal grants you get where you go and you train at public schools to condition the kids that the gun owners are going to come kill everybody because they're mad about the Second Amendment being violated. And they're going to use bioweapons, that the school biology teachers are terrorists. They had some glitter on a poster out in California a few months ago. And some of it blew, and they said, you're trying to make people think there's a bio attack. They've got people where there's a backpack on the ground. I mean, I've been at the airport before and walked off with my bags to get a coffee, and people are like, hey, your bags. I'm like, Starbucks is 10 feet. I know. My crew's sitting right by the bag, lady. It's always a woman. Nothing against women, but they're the ones that are more congenial in tribal situations to try to comply and be nice people. The problem is you got evil running the country. And repeatedly, I have had, one time at Austin Bergstrom, I got up to go get some barbecue. Some utensils for my barbecue, and I was waiting to fly out. And a woman again went, sir, don't leave your bag. And it was literally 15 feet to the paper towels and utensils. This woman is shaking in fear that there's terrorists everywhere when the government runs the terrorists publicly on record. And that's all out in the open now. So they're segueing from forget Al-Qaeda, why it's the gun owners. I mean, this is incredible. And we've got to make this break into the media and have a serious talk about this. I mean, remember what came out last year? We first broke it. leaked to us, actually out of a PSYOPs group. I mean, I'll just say it because they're all being tracked. They know it. They're not, they don't care. Out of Fort Hood, where they said the evangelical Christians are criminals. You're not to give money or go to one of their churches or be part of the Tea Party, or you will be called before the man and court-martialed. And then Fox News picked it up. And they went, okay, the Secretary of the Army said, we're going to stop that now. Man, I mean, imagine that this is like a Soviet takeover, folks. This is the real deal ahead of them going operational, and then all hell's going to break loose forever, basically. The end of our way of life, the end of prosperity, dead citizens, dead police, dead military, hell on earth. I mean, this is a nightmare situation where the globalists play us off against each other. So at the end of this segment, the next segment, and the next one, I want to talk to police and military. We only got time for a few, but I want you to call in right now. Give me your take on this. 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. I've already talked too long. I promise I'll go right to you when you come in. Go ahead. We've opened the phones up, 800-259-9231. Briefly, I've never been more alive than I am now to be taking action into the face of this thing. And this is what we're all born to do. Every generation goes through different struggles. We're going through a very serious one. One of the greatest humanity's ever seen. And history's happening right now. So nobody should say that they're bored. Please support us. Please get the fine products at InfoWarsLife.com, the Survival Shield, radiation protection, overall thyroid, and other body health. It's just done wonders for so many people. The Super Male Vitality that helps block all the estrogen mimickers that are being put in everything. The Fluoride Shield that I think is really the best value, Nation Iodine and 5 other ingredients known to detox. InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. InfoWarsStore.com has the survival seeds, non-GMO at the lowest prices, the widest selection, the books, the films, the Molon Labe T-shirts came in today. They're going up on the shopping cart today. It's the best Molon Labe, come and take it, design out there. Bar none, incredible job that one of our old graphics guy got to do it, that Cade did. It's just unbelievable. So that's going to be going up on the shopping cart later today, 800. You can go 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139 to call online, or InfoWarsStore.com, obviously. But again, I get in a hurry plugging in and start babbling in 18 other directions. I'm so freaked out about how obvious all this is and the fact that we've got to get the public to realize this is happening that I can hardly even talk at some points. Let's go to Steve, who's in Pennsylvania, and I guess is active duty military. Steve, what is your take on all this? Do you think I'm wrong, or what do you think? Let's pot Steve up there on the network for me real quick. Go ahead, Steve. You're on the air.
You there?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you're dead on. I was in the military for 6 years. I just got out the other year. And I woke up beginning of last year, and it seems like everything you've been saying for the past year or so has been right on. No doubt about it.
And I can't even believe a real takeover is being attempted right now. Even I can't believe it's really happening, even though we saw all the signs. And even though it's happened in other countries over and over again. But it's so crazy. Imagine the majority of drills are for veterans and gun owners killing children to demonize veterans, gun owners, and conservatives. I mean, this is outrageous. Where is the Republican Party hauling the Attorney General up for impeachment right now?
Well, you can't trust either party.
I know.
The problem is they're both, joined together at the hip. That's the problem.
Well, let me ask you this. When you were in, before you got out a year ago, were you ever part of these drills? Because I've been to them that are public, where they train to fight guys that literally have beards and wear John Deere hats. Basically, they train to fight Hank Williams Jr. Were you ever part of that, or did you ever hear about any of those drills?
I was never a part of those drills, but we did have a company come in from they were doing a video for West Point, and they actually asked some of us to go and work with this film crew and stuff, because we have a large National Guard base about 10 minutes from my house where my unit used to be at. And we had this little training town that was out there in the middle of the woods. And we'd go out there and they'd make videos of us kicking down doors and all sorts of other stuff for training videos, but I was never part of an actual drill. But
exactly, and West Point is now publicly training that the main enemy is the Tea Party. That's in Forbes, Associated Press, you name it. But the AP reports it like it's a good thing. Thank God the Pentagon's going to smash people that don't want to turn their guns in and have the state run their kids. Go ahead.
Well, when I was in, I always told all my guys that were in my platoon or in my company or anybody that was lower enlisted, remember your oath. And even now, since I'm out in the IRR right now, even though I'm out, I still talk to like military officers. I still talk to my old soldiers I used to serve with. And I still tell them, remember your oath. I mean, we all swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So we all have to live by that oath. I live by mine every day. Last year, since the Sandy Hook shooting, and I looked into all that and found out it was mostly a hoax that was perpetrated by our government. I've been looking into, and researching everything that goes on now. I've been calling my congressman every week, every 2 weeks, to make sure they get the point across, hey, you ain't getting our guns.
Exactly. Everybody's just got to continue to speak to friends and family. We're the majority. We're the Americana culture. The culture of America isn't perfect, but it's a billion times better than the globalist, synthetic slave culture. God bless you. And ladies and gentlemen, Cy Hurst, the Pulitzer Prize-winning two-time investigative journalist, he came out last year and concurred with us and said the bin Laden raid was 100% fake. I talked to an active duty Navy SEAL that's friends of the family, I'll leave it at that, weeks after it happened. I've had family of people that died in the helicopter that was blown up on saying they know it was set up to kill their family and they were killing, the Navy SEALs were sent in on a bin Laden body double. We even know the guy's name. And now, today, they've come out, and it turns out the Pentagon claimed they had photos of it and video and all this stuff, and then, quote, when they were ordered to declassify it, it was, quote, all destroyed. It was fake. They court-martialed hundreds of people on the ship, the aircraft carrier. Now it turns out there was no body dumped overboard. That's come out in mainstream news. It's all lies, folks. He died of kidney failure a long time ago. He was a high-level globalist asset above CIA. It's all fake. And yes, we don't know exactly what happened with Sandy Hook, but we got a good idea. They've bulldozed it. They've covered it up. Real kids were killed there, but they did have confirmed actors putting out the official story, and Bloomberg got caught in internal memos that have been leaked, preparing the day before for the big push and saying, prepare now for the news blitz. Look it up, folks. I mean, it is incredible. And they just count on everybody's ignorance to not understand this is real. I mean, this is so horrible. I wish this wasn't true. It's like when I got the word my uncle was basically brain dead and was going to be turned off and die. And I was going to get out there, but he died really quick after they took him off. They thought he'd fight a few days. It's like I've now accepted he's dead and he's gone. And we have to accept America is pretty much dead. But it's like a spirit. It's not a person. It could be resurrected in our hearts and minds if we want. Not the perfect America the media's push, but the real America that at least has basic freedom compared to other nations. We're in deep trouble, folks. This is real. And I'm having to come to grips with, man, it's really as bad as we thought and worse. With a bunch of scum that have got a score to settle with people that love freedom. Let's go to Glenn in Kentucky, who's police, then Raymond, who's military, and Rabbit, who's military. Go ahead, Gene. What's your take on all this?
Yes, sir. My cousin has just recently retired from Kentucky State Police, 20-plus years, PR officer, and his direct response to your story on the illegal checkpoints is highly decorated. You can check him out if you wanted to. I can give you your name off air, make sure that it's who it is. But he says, well, I must chime in here and explain the constitutionality of the RAID program. Folks think there is a God-given right to drive a car on the roads without being bothered by the police. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Bottom line, driving is a privilege and not a right under state law. Now, can a police officer stop someone in a traffic stop for no reason? No. Checkpoints have been ruled constitutionally legal as long as the encounter is quick and to the point. Can I see your license and registration of no apparent violations? Send them on their way. Being a Commonwealth
But then they release illegals when they find them. No, I've seen those quotes in the news. Now they're looking for people with food in the car or who look like they might have been eating, and then they pull you over and go, have you been eating? Okay, here's a ticket. It's pure conditioning. I appreciate your call because we're going to police and military as quick as we can. Let's talk to Raymond in Illinois, listening on WCKG in Chicago. You're military. Are you current, or did you just get out, and what's your take on this?
No, no, sir. I've been out for some time now. I have a son that's in, and my comment was they are gearing up. The Masons, I live in a small town, the Masons have been having meetings quite frequently. Wisconsin, all the major roadways, they're putting gates on the overpasses, barricades.
Well, I know this. They are getting all the kind of the insiders and all the cities ready for collapse and telling wealthy families, hey, be part of the system, we can protect you, acting like they don't know why the collapse is coming. The globalists engineered all this. That's the point. See, that's why they staged the crisis, is because they can pose as the savior.
Oh, I know that. You woke me up quite a few years ago, and I've woken up a few members of my family, but there's others that don't want to listen. That
Oh yeah, don't know. You'll have 300-yard wide medians all over the U.S. and they're putting cables down the middle of them. It's got to be billions of dollars nationwide, so you can't. I mean, it's for control, and then they admit it's for that. I mean, this is just hellish what they're doing. God bless you, sir. I appreciate your call. Rabbit in the Midwest, are you former or current military?
Former.
So what's your take on all the TV shows, everything demonizing gun owners?
Well, I'm sure you can talk to David Icke about this a little bit more, but surprisingly or not, I think it's a good thing in terms that it will cause the spiritual evolution which America needs to reboot itself morally and on an individual level.
I hear you. I appreciate the call, Rabbit. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds? Every week we get more local news reports just where it leaks out where the military is training with police to take on gun owners, veterans, and billing them as terrorists in the drills where they shoot, blow up schools, release bioweapons because, quote, they're mad about the Second Amendment being repealed. And there are going to be a lot of people. I'll imagine it's going to be about 5% at first that refuse to turn their guns in openly. Most people will just quietly won't do it. I'd say half. Then they're going to start persecuting gun owners, as they're already doing, and then a civil war is going to break out. And that's what the globalists have already scripted and prepared, like a PR rollout. And, I mean, no one should want to be part of this. This is horrible. But they've got to do this to cover up the economic collapse they've engineered so they don't get in trouble. This is a plan, folks, and we're just getting so close to it. Garrett in Austin, military, to give us your take on this. What's your take on it?
Wow, Alex, great to talk to you. Been trying to get hold of you for some time. First off, a little background information on me. I served in security forces guarding nuclear assets in Bremerton, Washington, up in the Pacific Northwest. One quick note, once I got out, the base commander there, the leading officer of the base, got taken out and fired for alleged forgery charges. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now you see this huge purge in all the nuclear programs of all the leading officers across the board. It kind of made me think about it.
No, this is a purge of the military by the Obamanoids and Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan that run the country.
Well, and you know, my take on what's going to happen, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm thinking it's going to be a lot like Egypt. If you're anybody who's in the military or has been in the military, they see that it works literally like a communist country. If you live on base, all the houses are lined up. They all look the same. They come check your rooms anytime they want. They come make sure you're always doing what you're supposed to, making sure you eat your meals every day. Before you go on vacation, you have to go to what's called a safety stand down. It's you go to the auditorium. They have to teach you about chainsaw safety, about boat safety, about barbecue safety. It's the craziest thing ever, and it's the reason they want the military to take over once the civil war breaks out, in which they're going to do exactly like they've done in Egypt and Syria and plant different al-Qaeda-linked groups or any other terrorist organizations. They probably have paid contractors that they'll send in to work and act as if they're the rebels and do atrocities and then have the military take over. Everybody that's in the military has been trained to respect authority, brainwashed. And those of them who've gotten out that are veterans, that's why they're demonized today, because they're either going to be completely compartmentalized and ruled by that authoritarian mindset that they've been brainwashed to think, or they're going to be completely against it like me and have their eyes open to how evil it is and be completely willing to fight back and know how the system works, and that's why they're the greatest enemy out there right now. And but, you know, all the people that are in the military, they're already trained to respect the authority, to, you know, they've already been trained. I give up my constitutional right when I sign that paper, and because I signed this contract, I have nothing I can do.
And now the cops are saying, hey, you have no right to not be in a checkpoint or have a search your house. Everything's a privilege. Guns are a privilege. Driving's a privilege. They believe it. And, man, I mean, every cartoon I see, movies, they're demonizing the resistance. I mean, this is it. And, folks, I'm not here trying to scare you. We got a chance to beat these people. What they're trying is outrageous. Go ahead.
I just wanted to quickly add, I got out of the military because I admit that I was, a lot of us were smoking what's called spice. I'm sure you've heard of it. I would never do it again, never, you know, we were just really depressed. We hated our lives there. But there was a lot of drug activity going on that base. Well, they came into my room in the middle of the night, took me and confined me in the brig for 2 months without charging me with...
Well, yeah, and they also give the troops drugs, the prescription to prime the pump. That way they get a record on you and a way to destroy you.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done has been right.
The planet is being looted. The populations are being poisoned via genetically engineered foods, chemicals that are added to the water. The television, the mainline dinosaur television, is literally weaponized media there to destroy individualism, destroy families, and that's their own stated goal. Obama, hanging out with the French president, says, I can do whatever I want. I'm basically a dictator. That's a new video we played 3 times in the last hour. Obama says he can implement any part of law he wants outside of law. And the same thing's being done all over the world. In Europe, the top socialists are tax exempt and put their money in Swiss bank accounts. They even get caught and don't get in trouble. There is a racing of tyranny taking place right now. And meanwhile, in the United States, they're reporting in Fox News, thought police. See how radical even mainline media is getting? Because radical things are happening. Firms must swear Obamacare not a factor in firings. And Obama exempts his friends and big corporations from it, but not families. A tax to the big insurance companies to bring in government-run death care. All over the place, we are seeing unbelievable, bizarro-level tyranny unfold. And in the Big Brother area, MBTA buses get live video technology. The CBS News is reporting out of Boston, feeding live video feeds back to Homeland Security. Remember when they said the cameras weren't for law enforcement? Your iPhone's watching you, your computer's tracking you, all the new appliances are tracking you. They're just rolling out a revolution. Virgin Atlantic to have Google glasses watching you and recording everything you do on their flight attendants. They're just rolling out the control grid. Fingerprint and eye scanning drones to make deliveries in United Arab Emirates. It is simply incredible. And here's a few of the headlines at Infowars.com. Then we go to David Icke for the balance of the hour. Video. Jihadist rebels in Syria, backed by NATO, strangle woman to death, blow up hundreds of churches. Go watch the video. See what the Peace Prize president supports. Government task forces cannot protect women from rape. True feminism is about arming women, not disarming them. Washington state legislation ending illegal drone surveillance gains bipartisan support. An exclusive report from our Washington state reporter, Mikhail Thalen. DOD gave order to destroy bin Laden death photos hours after Freedom of Information Act request. Cy Hurst says the raid never happened. It was staged. Yes, we know. See how it's all coming out? Video. Police shoot dog's family service dog outside 9-year-old's birthday party. 19 statistics about the drugging of America that are almost too crazy to believe. 20% of the public's now on drugs, government-issued drugs. Now they want 50% on it. Crowdhammer on Obama, employer mandate. This stuff is right out of a banana republic. That is just some of what's going on right now. But shifting gears, he's got a new book out. He's launched his own TV channel on mainline television in England. Truth is Rising. David Icke of davidicke.com joins us. Always thought-provoking. So much of what he said 20 years ago that I certainly laughed at, unfortunately, turned out to be true. He exposed people to BBC that he said were having necrophilic sex with children they'd murdered and everything else, and it all came out a decade after he named names. I mean, it is unbelievable. And I just bite my tongue hoping that, you know, the rest of it doesn't turn out to be true. I'm just pinching myself.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.